Hey guys, Bearded Viking Gamer here, and today I want to talk about the coronavirus. Everybody's talking about that thing, and there's situations where people are being quarantined, and there's death and things involved. But that got me to thinking, like in my collection here of games, what games have that type of story, background, things like that in it? So I pulled together a bunch of games here. Most of them are newer for the current generation. I do have just a couple of the older generation type stuff in here. But I want to go through some of these titles, show you fun games that I've played that have that type of that story and background in it. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So the first three here, these are Super Nintendo games, and as as a fan, that's my system. Everybody knows now on this channel that Super Nintendo is my system. That's what I love the most. It's what I actually grew up with older systems than that, but the Super Nintendo really changed it for me graphically and things like that. And one of my titles on here is Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Now this is also on the Genesis and things like that as well. But I wanted to show this one off, especially because everybody's seen or played this game on here. This is awesome. You're cruising around, saving your neighbors from zombies and things that are overpopulating and taking over and wanting to eat people. What was cool about this is my buddy Tyler. I see him at the expos every time I go to the expos in here, and he always brings out a different version for me. And this is one that he had got me, this is a couple years ago now, but this was Oh No, More Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And this is like 55 more levels. He even put it on a green cart for me. It's freaking just awesome looking. And so I thank you so much, Tyler. It's freaking awesome. Did a cool job with it. It's the same gameplay. It's just a bunch of different new levels. It's actually way harder than the other ones on here. Well, just this last expo, this last year, I saw him at a booth again, and he says, "Ooh, I brought something for you. I brought something for you." And this is what he had for me. This is Zombies Ate My Neighbors Doomsday. And this is even more stuff on here, more levels and things. Still, you have the two-player running around and gunning and stuff. It's really cool. So you still have that same style. It's all the same style, just different levels. And for a fan of the Zombies Ate My Neighbors franchise, that type of deal, I freaking love these games. They're so fun just to get in there and play. And even if you only play for 5 minutes and you're in and out and you're done, it's just a fun set. Now for these games here, these are all mostly. This is I think every single one in this stack is going to be current gen stuff. I kept kind of Fallout 4 and all that stuff out of it, even though those are great games. Those are like post-apocalyptic type situations. And I don't know, it's just that was a bomb that would take things out in there. And these ones were more of an infection and a lot of a deal with zombies. But this first one I have here on the PS4 is Deadlight Director's Cut. You actually have to get this one physical. I've played this obviously different ways before on here, but this is over in Europe. They got the release on this one. This is how I had to order it on here. And this is a zombie outbreak has brought the world to its knees. Now only survival lives among the remnants of humanity. Follow Randall's search for his family in the aftermath of the apocalypse. But remember, combat isn't the only way to survive against these undead. Run, jump, hide, and struggle for your life in Randall's search for the answers for this hell on earth. Freaking cool. It's a side-scrolling platformer type. It's done very, very well, and I like it. It's for people who like Limbo and those types, how they're all side-scrollers. This is more of a graphical, obviously, approach to it. It's not the cartoonish look to it, but it's freaking awesome. Another one in here is this has been on other generation consoles, but this is Dead Island, the definitive collection. I just pulled these things out here because I was just going through the list on here and going, oh, that would work the category on here. But yeah, you have Dead Island, Riptide, and all that stuff. If you get the definitive edition, you get all that in one. They're fun to run around and beat people with, cricket mallets and things. Here's for your sniping needs, if you guys love those sniping type games. And this is Zombie Army Trilogy. So this is It's just a goofy type where you just can unload on things. Brutal horde mode is in here, and they have the whole thing where you're sniping. You can still do the thing where the bullet enters through the rib cages and rips through all that stuff. And it's a 3 games in here, so it's not the most fantastic game I've ever played or anything, but it's a fun time killer for sure. All right, here's a good one. This is a fun one on. This is a fun one on just online play even, but this is World War Z, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this stuff already on here. When this first came out, I got this game super cheap because I think they mismarked it, thinking it was the World War Z movie. It's been out for a long time, so I think they mismarked the game, not realizing it had just come out, and I got it super cheap when it did hit, so... It's a fun game though, man. A lot of like Left 4 Dead, like same type style. If you've ever played Left 4 Dead or any of those types on there. Of course, man. This is my favorite so far. Can't wait for round 2. And this is The Last of Us Remastered. Excellent game. I mean, you do have the outbreak in the beginning between Joel and Ellie and all them, and it's just an awesome story between the two of them. I can't wait for part 2, man. It's just going to be incredible. Alright, here's a bunch here on this one. Now, let's see. This next game set there's a bunch here. I mainly pulled it for Resident Evil 2 Remake. I just thought it was an awesome remake back in the day. I mean, hell, there's the 64 version right here. I'm playing the original one on the PlayStation. It's just, they were awesome games. And I just thought the remake was just insane awesome, dude. They did a good job with it. And included in there, I didn't want to miss all the other Resident Evil. So you got Resident Evil 4 here, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. You have the Resident Evil Origins collection, where it's just a couple games in there. So it's 0 and Resident Evil. And then you had the Resident Evil Revelations and Resident Evil Revelations 2. So we have all those games to choose from on the PlayStation 4 here. Of course, Resident Evil 2 Remake is killer. It's so good. It's just an awesome remake. I can't wait for the third one. I know as the time I'm filming this right now, they're just now putting a Resident Evil 3 demo out there. So go check that out on the PlayStation Store. I heard that that's hitting up here today. And they're also announcing some specs for the PlayStation 5 today as well. So we'll see what that's all about later on. Next title here, this has an awesome day and night cycle on it. And this is Deadlight. Dying Light, The Following. And this one is this is a fun one too for survival. Good time killer on it, especially at nighttime. So as you're running through and you're doing things through the city during the day, as nighttime falls, the creatures get stronger and harder and faster. So you need to get to a safe area as quick as possible just to dodge these guys. And it gets pretty crazy. So it can get pretty intense if you're a good distance away from a safe zone and it's starting to get nighttime out and you're needing to get out somewhere. So it's a pretty awesome little game here. This one released this last year, and this is Days Gone. This was a cool one version. This is a really cool version. I remember seeing the E3, man, when this first came out, and you're seeing that huge horde chasing him through the mill, the lumber mill, and stuff. It was just insane seeing that. And I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. And after playing it, I did a little review on here earlier in this gaming channel. I did one, and I just loved this game. I thought it was awesome. All right. And these ones, this is a 3-part here. I'm kind of putting these games all into one here as we go, but let's see here. This is 2. Okay. So the way these ones were, this company is not around doing it anymore, but this was Telltale Games, and I loved a lot of the stuff that they did there. They did, a bunch of story-driven type games where you can pick basically how your adventure is going to go. And this was The Walking Dead. And here's the complete first season, second season, and then third season But these games were fantastic. If you've ever played any of these, if you've never played them, you should definitely check them out. There's lots of different story and stuff. How do you, and depending on if you pick to go this route, well, it might affect your relationship with this character. And you see a lot of other games now starting to do that type of deal. But it's cool. It's cool. This was a lot of fun, and it's done with a artwork kind of drawn gameplay, and I like that kind of stuff. I'm going to go here now on my last set of games here. They're all part of the same series. And this is another one. This is just a fun smash and grab, beat the hell out of them. And this is Dead Rising. So Dead Rising 1 here. And then on the PS4 there was the Dead Rising 2. And then on the Xbox One, now they didn't have this one. I couldn't find this on the PS4, they just didn't have it, but on the Xbox One they had the Dead Rising 3. And then this was the final one that I ended up getting from the Dead Rising. This was Dead Rising 4, Frank's Big Package. And it's just, I mean, it's just comical stuff where he's just smashing them with, candy canes and putting, traffic cones over people's heads and beating them with golf clubs, and any which way you can you can beat the crap out of a zombie, you can basically do it in here, smashing TVs and things like that. But yeah, these are the types of games. I mean, it's kind of crazy that people are being brought into quarantine and having to do this stuff just to let this virus kill itself off. But I mean, what a better way to stay at home, play games. I mean, there's tons of stuff. If you have a game room and you have any of that type of stuff, just lock down in there and play these games, and it's awesome. I love these type of games. It's crazy that people do have to go through this type of stuff right now in the real world. But we'll get through this stuff, and this stuff does go right through. It'll die off at some point, and everything will be back to normal. Well, that's what I got for you guys this week. So stay tuned for next week, and we'll get you guys going here. Thanks again for tuning in.